Hello, and welcome to another live taping of the Was It Good podcast. I'm having issues with this fucking cable.
Who designed this set?
I don't know, some jackass named Bob.
I wish we got engineers like our workplace, where engineers and set people.
That would be lovely if we had other people besides us.
Yeah, well, we got these,
We got this cool looking vastness of nothingness behind us.
We have a lot of toys.
You know who has the best set ever?
Don't
It's
say it. Don't say Puppy Wuppy.
John Oliver for was it last night?
I thought you were going to say Maddie Mathis.
No, because so his whole set was when he went into COVID. I don't know if you guys know this. He obviously went to they did the whole home setup.
Yeah.
And he was consistently in a white void. And the last night tonight show was always done in front of a live audience, so there was always like a laugh track essentially.
Yeah.
So when they went to this at home thing, he would make a joke, there would be no laughter, right? And they did this the entire time.
It's intense. I watched a couple episodes.
A lot of other late night shows came back to studio with like smaller offices or smaller live audiences or remoted in audience members.
Yeah.
Still had like a laugh track, all that fun stuff. But the John Oliver show, they kept this weird thing.
Yeah.
They just wrapped their season finale, I think, not this past Sunday, the Sunday before, so about 8-9 days ago. And for their season finale, he decides to reveal more about this void. So he like gets up behind his desk, right? And remember, his setup is an at-home setup. So he gets up at the at-home setup, and then they do a cut, obviously, and he's in a studio or a soundstage. And he's like, yeah, I'm in the void. I'm in this whatever. And he does this whole weird meta thing about like leaving the void. And he sees a red door and he goes through the door and he comes out. And then he's like in this open field or this open like, I don't know, construction yard or whatever. He's walking away from this whole white thing, which was the void.
Yeah.
And this whole white thing is a gigantic 2020. And then they blow up 2020. And it was like the coolest, like, it was like, they put so much like energy and effort into destroying 2020 and like creating this relationship between he has been talking about 2020 from inside 2020.
Yeah.
And then it was
And
very,
he got out of it.
yeah. This is just basically a big long rant of our set's pretty okay.
It sounds
It sounds like John Oliver like literally killed it. So, look, we have Dan and Kelly joining. Hello,
deli.
Deli.
Deli has joined us.
I guess.
You know what?
that
I
can be
kind of
their
want a deli
nickname.
sandwich now for dinner.
Deli.
Go to Cantor's.
Turkey?
Cantor? No, I fucking hate Cantor.
You don't like Cantor's?
I don't like Cantors for their waffles.
Yeah, then get a waffle.
I don't want a waffle. I want a fucking deli sandwich.
They do also have, famous deli sandwiches.
It's not that good. The last time I went there, the meat was dry.
Get a grilled cheese.
What did you get?
I can make myself a grilled cheese.
Yeah, but can you get
We don't have any-
Cantor's grilled cheese?
How are you gonna make a grilled cheese? We don't have any cheese.
Yeah, we did. I bought a whole bunch of cheese because I'm making mac and cheese for Thanksgiving.
Oh, thank God.
Anyway, before we get into that, let's actually start the podcast real quick
You
here.
haven't clapped it in yet.
Oh, I'm going to clap it.
Oh, you producers.
Anyway, so before we get into the actual thing, just a heads up for those watching, definitely jump in the chat. We are laughing at your comments and then ignoring you. Just kidding. We will bring them up. At the end of the show, we are going to be announcing who the winners are of our Cara Dune and Grief Karga Funko Pop, so stick around for that. And then, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start this wonderful intro. Here we go. I'm old.
Old man noises.
Old man noises.
Wow.
Real quick, have you noticed as you guys have gotten older,
Yes.
you just make weird fucking
Yeah.
noises?
You know why?
Why?
Because you're randomly like if you sit in one place for too long now, you get stiff,
Yes.
and so you need to move around a lot more to keep the blood flowing, and so sometimes it's like a little bit more effort just to get out of your chair. So you're like, ugh.
I honestly haven't noticed the noise thing.
You
Well,
make
I hope
noises.
not. Wait, from us or yourself?
For myself.
Well,
No,
Judah, you're still in
you
your
do.
20s. You better not.
No,
Wait,
he
you-
makes noises.
What
does?
noise is doing?
Yeah, like when he gets up, you go. It's not like it's not like a crazy, but you do like make
There's a little like
verbal sound.
exhalation of breath.
Yeah.
All right, I want to play this up now, and I want to be like the Raphael and the doll of getting up.
I'm gonna make.
Serena Williams.
Wait, guys. Was it good sketch? Just all the grunts that you make in every day and just tennising it up. That's, the
then-
next thing we should shoot.
And then we end, but it has to end on redoing shit skit.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
The
no.
ultimate, random.
Do you think
noise.
Ron's free for that?
Ron? this is real off track, but on his birthday, I think either last year or the year before, I slacked him
I
that
remember this,
sketch,
yeah.
and he's like, I can't look at this. he's like, I can't open this.
Wow,
I
we
can't look at it."
traumatized the guy.
Yeah, the
Whoops.
poor man.
We definitely did traumatize him.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. For real. Well, they're the old man noises. Happy Thanksgiving week, everyone in America, and happy regular old Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever day you're listening on to everyone else. We are What's It Good? I'm your host, Ravi, and I'm joined by my two brothers, Krish and Arjuna. Today we're talking Lego Star Wars Holiday Special and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion episode on HBO Max and the usual newsy news. But first, how are you, Arjuna? Tell me about your feelings. This is my attempt to shoot the shit.
Wow, that didn't sound scripted or
Yeah,
it
that sounded
very
that sounded very
natural,
authentic.
very natural delivery.
No, the last part is definitely scripted.
No,
Because
no.
I read it.
No, wow, no.
I read it like a script.
But we're trying to convince our parents that we all care about each other and ask each other how your day is going, and that's an epic fail right there. You just admitted that we scripted it.
We script our lives. Our entire lives are scripted.
Oh,
I had
God.
a theory that we are living in a sitcom.
A sitcom? I think we're living in an advanced alien civilization's version of The Sims. I think some aliens are just playing The Sims, and we are The Sims.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I hope that's not real.
It could be. It sounds like a Twilight Zone episode.
Big time.
Oh, wait, that would be a good new Twilight Zone episode,
Maybe you should write it.
hosted by Jordan Peele.
There you go. But anyway, guys, let's we got a couple of I guess specials that we watched. Obviously the Lego Star Wars, the Fresh Prince. But before that, couple of big pieces of I think
Personal news?
Personal news. Right off the bat, I would say the biggest one is Krishna got a PlayStation 5 for his birthday,
Yeah.
and Arjuna's
Shocking, by the way.
Arjuna's PlayStation 5 finally showed up. But I think the most shocking piece of this is Arjuna
Yeah.
lives such a busy life
Right.
that the PlayStation 5 is over there,
Still in
the box.
And it's been here how many days? 6?
It's been here
for
a week. A week.
A week.
And you haven't opened. You
I haven't
just have
even-
not had a chance
I've
to.
just not had a chance to open it yet.
Like there was one day where you had meetings for 7 straight hours.
Yeah. And then today I had moved most of my meetings to try and play with it today.
Still hasn't happened.
It failed.
Yeah.
It failed.
Wow.
So it's just sitting right there. I'm sure everybody hates me because I owned a PS5 and hadn't played it.
Yeah, there are
Uh,
people that are literally starving for PlayStation.
Yeah,
5s.
there's a lot of people out there that are less fortunate than us without PlayStations. And for this Thanksgiving, we should give thanks and send them pictures of the box.
You
Wow.
are a terrible human being.
You will piss off a lot of people.
You really are a terrible person.
Yeah.
But also, that's a fun thing. I'm still holding out. I haven't found a good deal or a reason to pull the trigger.
There is a rumor that Black Friday will see a super influx
Of
across many
PlayStations.
sites. So I would, for those who don't have a PlayStation at this point, it seems like late Thanksgiving Day is the time to sit in front of your computers and phones with your family, of course, and
So I
try
gotta
to get that PlayStation.
So real quick, before we move off the PS5, I have to ask because we've been talking about this a couple times, right? So obviously, there's a huge problem with people ordering and getting their PlayStation 5s. Now, we heard I think a few weeks ago from someone who works at Sony that they actually have 10 million units ready to go, and it's a distribution issue. That the distributors like Walmart and GameStop and Best Buy and all these other outlets are the ones responsible, either directly or indirectly, for people not being able to get their systems. Is this a coordinated, and Arjuna, I know where you fall on this, so I'll ask you right off the bat. Is this a coordinated attempt to drive up interest so that the demand for the PS5 is sky high come Christmas?
I think it is, but then now that you mention it, like all these companies, these are also the same companies that have struggled now for 9 months to resupply Clorox wipes. So
Oh, like
maybe-
Walmart?
maybe it
like
is.
Target?
maybe it is a bit of both. Who knows?
Yeah, and that's the thing too, right? The COVID probably doesn't help.
Yeah, I'm sure COVID doesn't help, and I do think there is a strategy here by Sony to kind of, especially
Then
around
Nintendo switching us?
around this time. I think the PlayStation 5 has been in the news so much, largely because of but how hard it is to get it, right? That has been the big talking point around the system, and because of that, it's almost like the theory of like any news is good news. It keeps the PlayStation in the consciousness of people of like, oh, everyone's talking about it, and I just wonder if, and I'm really looking more at like a family unit, right? Like your parents who have kids, and then you have kids who are more demanding, like, I want a PlayStation, like my friend Bobby and, Billy have it, and I want a PlayStation. And then they're just thinking of kind of the second influx of when you get closer to the holidays, people pre-ordering and buying PlayStations. Maybe.
Why does this kid's best friends, like, both have Billy and Bobby?
Yeah.
Oh, man, you got to
That's
change
our
up.
Juna's two favorite friends of
Yeah,
his.
Billy and Bob.
Billy
Bob.
Bob. Billy Bob. There you go.
Billy Bob Thornton.
Well, that's PlayStation 5. We'll see how that all shapes up. Thanksgiving is obviously this week. The holiday where you eat so much food and you just hate yourself.
Hate yourself?
Well, because you feel fat and bloated and disgusting and slow and gross.
Yeah, but the food tastes good. It's like good for the soul.
The food tastes good in the moment that you're eating it. When
Yeah,
it's
that's all. That's all that
cooked.
matters.
I am not a believer in Thanksgiving like leftovers. I'm not like
Wait, but
But
cold
you don't like
turkey
leftovers in
sandwiches?
general.
I don't like turkey sandwich. I don't like turkey anymore, except for Disneyland turkey. That's the only good stuff out
The
there.
big turkey legs?
Yeah, because you know what they do at the Disneyland turkey legs?
Deep fry them?
They deep fry them. They're covered in like sugar and salt and
And
everything,
butter, probably.
and lard and
Bobby,
death.
that's like clearly far worse than what we make on Thanksgiving. And here you are being like, oh, you feel like,
Yeah,
that
I
doesn't make any sense.
but I like that turkey. I just don't like the oven
Oh, I
roasted
see.
turkey.
We're not even having turkey this year. are
No,
we?
we're having lamb roast.
Yeah,
You're
we're
welcome.
Totally
You're welcome.
changing it up.
We're having lamb roast and we're having a chicken thing.
See, I agree with Miko Matter here, right? Leftovers are half the fun. Absolutely, like a cold turkey sandwich and like white bread and butter.
Yeah, you don't have to
You
cook for
literally
like a
cannot
week.
beat that. Put a little
great.
stuffing in it if you have any left over, which we never do.
Nope. So what are we doing for things? We're doing. I think I'm cooking most of the food.
Really? I thought
Yeah.
mom and dad were gonna handle the lamb.
They're gonna bring it, but I have to put it in the oven, so I'm technically cooking.
Wow.
That's how it works, right?
So mom and dad are gonna end up cooking it.
No,
Yes.
I mean they're gonna. I was gonna get these new wireless thermometers. It was actually just an excuse to buy this wireless
Yeah.
thermometer, and it syncs with your phone, so you can like set the temperature of the meat,
Yeah.
and then it alerts you
Oh, that's
on your
cool.
phone, and then you're like, oh, cool, gotta go take it out or do whatever. So pretty
Yeah.
excited for that. And then I'm also doing sourdough bread again.
Mm.
So everyone started the sourdough bread phase at the beginning
Of COVID.
of COVID. I'm doing it hopefully towards the end of COVID. Hopefully I didn't.
I'm not
Jinx
gonna
us?
lie. I don't think we're. Never mind. That's
What
too
about bitter
depressing.
dough bread?
It's
There's
not
like
how it-
sourdough. What about bitter dough and like
Sweet dough?
sweet dough and
Well, sweetbread's the thing.
chunky dough?
Why would you say chunky?
I don't know. Like I'm just thinking of different adjectives. Like why sourdough? I don't know. It's just a question.
Actually,
It's because of the yeast or something and how it's yeastified and it creates a sour thing.
Well, yeah. Is there, like, do you add anything that makes the bread sour? I mean, because like sourdough does have a
Don't
slightly.
know.
Well, you just made it.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I'm asking.
So okay, I use an
admit it.
Hold
Lauren
on.
made it.
No. I mean, she mixed it and then put it. So she mixed it and then I put it in the Instapot. I took it out of the Instapot. I did knead it a little bit.
Okay, so you Krishna it. You did as much work as Krishna normally would do for like, for example, when we bake you cakes for your birthday.
Yeah.
You did as much work as Krishna did on his cake.
Hey, I did most of it. Okay, Ravi just showed me how to do everything.
That's true, actually.
So it's essentially what maybe happened
I had a
with
lot
this
of help.
bread. Lauren gave Ravi a lot of help and basically did the whole thing.
Maybe.
And Ravi's now like, I made
I made it.
Are you gonna put some cheese in it?
No, it's gross.
Oh man,
You don't know what the cheese. So when you're making a bread, you don't want to add extra things in there because it can change
Okay.
how it's cooked, all that fun stuff.
Ravi's off the hook. Lauren said that. Yeah, you did a lot of the work.
Haha. I mean, I don't.
Remember?
I think I did. I don't. I mean,
What are you drunk?
no.
Were you
It was just-
high?
It was a very honestly, it's a very simple. Like I thought making sourdough was a very complicated process.
Yeah.
But it's actually pretty straightforward. Like you take yogurt, Greek yogurt.
Oh,
Oh, so that's what makes
flour.
it a little sour. The
that
yogurt.
must. Yeah, the Greek yogurt.
Yeah, I guess.
And
Oh.
bread making is a complicated profession.
Oh, I didn't know a Russian was in the house.
Where is the baby? Where is the bread?
Baking is a science, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah.
We're referring, just for those listeners, we are referring, of course, to our chat, which is on twitch.tv/wasitgood. Podcasts are always done live, so definitely make sure you subscribe and follow along there so you can join in on the fun. But yeah, that's going to be Thanksgiving. I'm sure next week on Monday, when we do this again, we can rate the food
Ooh.
and see how we all did.
Are we having mac and cheese?
Yes, we are.
Oh,
having
thank God.
It's going to be an Instapot slow mac and cheese recipe. So
Wow. I'm
very,
so ready for
very
Thanksgiving.
excited for that. And
Yeah.
for my version, I'm going to have some bacon in there. So very excited.
Yeah. Interesting.
But as we are in the holiday, what do you call this? The holiday realm? Holiday couple
Spirit?
weeks? The holiday spirit.
The holiday realm?
The holiday realm.
What?
The realm of
holidays. What was that? What came to your mind? The
holiday
We're in the
realm?
holiday what
Well-
realm? What are you, Thor?
Well,
what
here's-
realm is this?
Okay, so you in our studio space, it's pretty nerdy. It's pretty kind of calm. You couldn't really tell looking at our set what type of what period of the year we're in, right?
That's true.
I mean, I've got our lights set to
yellow.
orange for like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
But like if you go upstairs to like our middle area to our living room,
Yeah.
we put up holiday decorations, right? That's the holiday realm, right? So I'm referring to our living room. That's why it's like it's a realm. Like it's
Yeah.
a realm.
It's a space.
It's a space.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Too soon is what a couple of people are saying, but I was actually kind of against it. But last night I was watching rest of Ted Lasso, really good Netflix show.
I believe it's pronounced Ted Lasso.
Lasso, sorry.
It's not.
It's not.
I
no.
just tricking you.
But I was sitting there and I was looking around. I was like, this is actually kind of comfy and cozy and
Yeah.
like I was cool. Whatever. I don't think it's too soon. It's a nice change of pace for such a bizarre year.
I think it's too soon because I don't think decorations should ever be put up.
Anyway, so
I'm kidding.
going into the first piece of content that we just all watched, Lego Star Wars Holiday Special. As many of us know, years ago, back in the 70s, 80s, whenever, Lucas did a TV holiday special for Star Wars. It was a combination of live television, recorded television, animation,
Puppets.
puppet. It was a complete bizarre, just weird science fiction meets Life Day, which is a Star Wars holiday. It was very bizarre. It's also the first time we got a look at Boba Fett. And fast forward, 40 years later, we now get a Lego Star Wars holiday special. Arjuna, we'll start with you because you watched it first. What was your initial gut reaction?
Last, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, you
Just most recently.
most recently. What was your initial gut reaction as everything was kind of playing in front of you?
I thought it was fun, honestly. I think I've always really liked Lego Star Wars, mostly with the sets, obviously, and then the video games. I don't know if you guys remember, like, the classic PlayStation 2, Xbox era of those games. It was, like, Lego Star Wars. I believe they did the, like, original trilogy, and then they did the prequel trilogy. And those games came out, obviously, before there was any sequel trilogy. So they did, like, those 6 episodes, and then they did, like, a expanded edition of, like, they called it, like, Lego Star Wars The Complete Saga. And now I know they've come out with new ones with the sequel trilogy. And I think there's another one that's coming out in 2021, if I do believe. So those have always been fun. I just feel like Lego and Star Wars has always been a popular kind of collaboration between popular brands. In my opinion, some of the best Lego sets are Star Wars. Like I always wanted as
By
a kid.
far.
I always wanted as a kid the Lego Millennium Falcon because it looked really cool.
Are you dropping Christmas hints?
No.
I feel like you're dropping. Take a note. Somebody take a note of this because I will forget in like a day.
In 30 seconds.
I'm gonna get you a Lego Millennium Falcon keychain.
Yeah, but the nice one is like the super expensive, like $800.
Oh God, yeah.
Where would you put it?
I'd put it on my bed.
Right here. Wait, on your bed?
No, I don't need to sleep.
Wait, you're kicking stickers
There,
around?
I just stared. Yeah.
Oh no.
Hit the road. I've got a new partner. It's
Yeah.
called the Lego Millennium
I have
Falcon.
I have a
my
little
God.
bench at the end of my bed.
Oh my God.
So you're
You're gonna,
Michael Scott.
you're gonna Michael Scott the
Yeah.
Millennium
Oh,
Falcon.
boy.
Okay. All right.
So knowing the context of Lego Star Wars always being kind of fun, I went into this being like, okay, it's like 45 minutes. It's gonna be a fun time, and that's what it was. It was colorful. It was fun. It took it took some of the, because it's a holiday special, it really took some of the Life Day aspects of the original holiday special and kind of did its own Lego-fied sequel trilogy-esque type of take on it, while also having, well, spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen it, but time travel.
And here's the thing. So it is by far, I'll start by saying it's by far my favorite thing of the new trilogy.
Does that include, wait, are you just saying like all the movies that Disney have made? Like including Rogue One and Solo, and are you including
No.
like
So I'm talking
Mando
the specific time period.
I gotcha.
And the core characters that were introduced.
First Order.
Finn, Rey, Poe, the First Order.
Do you like it because a lot of the characters are sidelined for
Yes.
the special, and it's really more of a focus on nostalgia
Yes.
and the original?
Yes,
Okay,
that's why I love it so much. It's the goofiness of the whole thing, and
It's carried by Papa Palpatine. Let's be honest.
yeah, Papa Palpatine's in there, with, being evil, and I don't know. It was fun.
I will say my favorite part of the special is when he is falling down. He looks at the mug and he's like, "I'm going to be good now,"
and then he died.
and he died. It was pretty funny. Like it's very much in that Lego humor. It is very like corny, funny, but very entertaining.
I got like Pixar vibes. Like Pixar's always been able to tell like a really good
Visual story.
visual story, but also like the story itself, and they convey like a lot of like emotion and stuff
Sure.
through their visuals. I like that it was only about like 47 minutes.
Yeah.
It was like the perfect length for this. It allowed them to be like really tight. There was a plot and a B plot. You didn't need much more than that. It was great. And just to reiterate what you both have said, super fun. Let me ask you this, Ravi. Does it redeem the trilogy?
No,
You're like, that's impossible.
Well, here's
nothing can redeem the trilogy.
Here's my
Yeah,
question.
no,
right?
you're probably
Here's
right.
my question. Like, we're all pretty big Star Wars fans. This is our second main usage of time travel we've seen within Star Wars. Obviously, Ravi can talk about this, but this is not canon.
Wait,
but,
what?
But,
so the hardcore.
well, hold on. Real quick, I'll get to that. But so this is not canon, but this is the first time since Rebels we've seen time travel used. We can get into your canon talk, and then we can talk about time travel.
So it's not canon.
Oh.
And
Wow,
the main
that's
reason
it.
it's not considered canon is because I believe it's Disney that released it and not Lucasfilm,
Oh.
if that makes sense. So anything released by Lucasfilm is considered Star Wars, while this is considered a Disney,
Like a Disney fun thing.
like a Disney fun thing or something. Of that
So
nature.
Lucasfilm was not involved in this?
I
they
think
must have,
that
but
they
must
were
have been
involved, but like if you look at like the distributing partner or whatever, or the branch.
I mean, that makes sense. It's
that
like
comes
it's
out.
Lego for crying out loud, It'd be
Yeah.
kind of weird. Let me ask you this. Is the original holiday special? 'Cause I
Part-
believe that
it-
originally was canon, but that was before Disney bought Star Wars.
I believe it's like parts of it are considered canon,
Oh,
but there's like
that's convenient.
yeah, I think it's just parts, and it's not like a full-fledged thing. I think you look at it more like you look at expanded universe, where it's aspects of it you take and you place wherever, and it comes back up, and like there's knowledge of it, but like it as a thing isn't like the same as like an episode 7 or 8 or
Yeah.
9 or whatever.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, everyone knows now denim jeans are canon because of the Mandalorian.
No,
last
they're gonna
episode.
take him out. They're gonna
No.
take him out.
Is George Lucas canon?
Why did he appear like Stan Lee?
No, he's just he's the creator of it, and he no longer is involved. So because he's not owned by Disney, does that mean he's no longer canon?
Wait, who?
George Lucas.
That's a person in the real world.
Is it though?
But
Yes.
they the movies always start in a galaxy far, far away. Maybe he is the person who wrote those words.
Anyway, so time travel is obviously introduced in Lego Star Wars Holiday Special.
Yes.
It's a way for Rey to go and basically combine all of our favorite things of the Star Wars universe, including the child and the Mandalorian. and all
The Mando cameo was funny.
that was a
They
that was
used
a good
they used
one.
the tune,
That
and
doesn't sound good.
we ran out of disk space for our recording.
Oh.
Well, that's awkward.
I guess I just have to pull it off Twitch.
That would be the easiest way to do it if we're making any clips.
Yeah, and I mean for the audio too.
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
You may continue. You may continue.
You don't want
Mr.
to
Holt.
just like throw up a weight card for a second?
Yeah,
We can
let
go
me-
into
let
We'll
me
be
it.
throw
right
up a
back.
weight
We'll be right back
Slight
in a second.
technical
Yep.
difficulties.
So glad new stuff.
Oh,
Every time.
Doesn't this computer have like a
wait.
terabyte? All right, we're back. Time travel is obviously introduced and used very heavily in Lego Star Wars: The Holiday Special as a way for us to see all of our favorite eras of Star Wars and new characters like the Mandalorian and the Child, which was a fun little, he so cute type thing. This is though the second time we're seeing time travel in some of the bigger Star Wars properties. First time, obviously, which is canon, is in Star Wars Rebels, when Ahsoka is basically you could argue, brought back to life or pushed away from dying or whatever, with Ezra utilizing some kind of time portal to pull her from her fight with Vader to a couple months or whatever down the road, essentially. So just kind of remove her from time to save her. It has been what's interesting, like time travel has shown up in Star Wars comics.
Oh, has it?
When Star Wars was kind of running all over the place, there was the what was it? There was an Indiana Jones crossover thing that involved some time travel stuff.
What was it like?
Han Solo?
Harrison Ford twice over?
Yeah,
like with
basically.
Indy and Han?
Yep. So there's been a whole bunch of weird things like that. Do you think that there was a missed opportunity here to kind of show what may be, or do we think that this works as its own self-contained thing? What do we think?
So when Rebels did time travel, I think you guys might remember this, but I had a mini freak out. I'm like, oh, time travel's canon now. Star Wars is totally going to do time travel at some point. Like, it's going to happen. And this actually doubles down on my belief that time travel is totally going to happen within the Star Wars universe, whether it be in a Disney Plus show, whether it be in movies further down the road. They've introduced it. It's once you open that box, it's kind of hard to to close it and not utilize it. People love time travel. Like people really dig those types of stories. And if you look at like Disney as a corporate company, like they did time travel obviously last year with Endgame, so they certainly are comfortable with the idea of doing time travel from a corporate standpoint and like changing things up if they need to. But it actually gives me more hope that if the way that they could do time travel, it could be fun. It could be fun to kind of revisit some iconic moments and kind of twist them and do something fun with them. I think the difference for me now where I was when it happened in Rebels to now is I think I take, and maybe this is just bad for Disney, I just take Star Wars less seriously, just because
Star Wars is life. How dare you?
I just think that I just think the quality of Star Wars in general with the sequel trilogy.
Ravi has been dying for about
No, like it's such a funny thing for you to say. Like, I take Star Wars less seriously. You, to me, have never been someone that ever took Star Wars seriously.
No, I like Star Wars.
Right, but we've never taken, like, I think I'm, out of the three of us, I take it the most serious.
Sure.
And then Krishner, and then you.
I think I still had a lot of, like, I guess hope maybe that it could be, more of a coherent story. But then at this point I'm just like, they need to mix it up a little bit. Clearly, like, the sequel trilogy, was stale because they tried to do a lot of the same stuff. It's almost kind of like where I just feel like they need to try something, and maybe
time travel
maybe
might
it's
be
with
the
time
thing?
travel, and I'm down to see whatever they're willing to try. I think it's just kind of let's try something new and see how it works, and I'm more open.
I feel similar.
This sounds like more though that not necessarily like a New Hope Arjuna, more like you're letting go of the reign, like the control aspect, and just kind of you're along for the ride.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds.
That's
like.
the
Which is-
only-
I think that's healthier
That's the only way to go.
than like being the hardcore Star Wars fan that's
Exactly.
screaming at someone and
Yeah. And I've never been like I scream at you because this is not in my precious canon of Star Wars. But I definitely I've definitely fallen trap and victim to of being like, I don't like this about Star Wars, and being maybe
we all have.
complaining about it.
Yeah.
And now at this point it's like, not that I don't care about Star Wars or like Star Wars, it's just like, well, if it's bad, there's honestly just so much to watch and invest in. It's like, let's take the Obi-Wan show, for example. If the Obi-Wan show comes and I don't like it in the first 3 episodes, I don't need to watch it. And I can spend my time on a lot of other things. It's not like maybe 10 years ago, right, where it's like, oh my God, the only Star Wars thing I'm going to get is this new movie. I'm investing everything I have into it. It's not like that. There's so much Star Wars now. There's so much everything else.
There's like a whole bunch of books, so you could always read.
There's books, there's video games, there's TV shows on Disney Plus, there's more movies coming, so it's not like
podcasts.
Yeah, and it's like, well, if they don't knock it out of the park with this, it's like I don't have to invest.
Now take what you've learned here, right, with Star Wars and letting go, and apply it to the Patriots, and you will be a far happier person.
I don't know what's the Patriot.
Wow, my work here is done.
We've got a bunch of other things, so let's kind of run around real quick on this one. Krishna, was the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special good?
Yes, it was. It was fun. It was bright and colorful, and it was actually like hilarious in parts. I like laughed out loud. I might have been like a little bit drunk. So that definitely
You were trashed.
Yeah, that's
Christian, it would have been funny if you just left it at it was bright and colorful.
Yeah, I know. I should have. Get out when I'm ahead. But I loved it. It was good. Arjuna, was Lego Star Wars Holiday Special good?
Yes, it was. It was fun. It was colorful.
Wow, you can't steal my description.
Oh my
and I had a lot of fun. I might have been a little.
You weren't just watched this like 20 minutes ago.
I might have been a little sloshed.
So sloshed.
But yeah, I liked it. Ravi, was the Lego Star Wars Holiday Special good?
Yeah, it was colorful. It was bright.
I mean, it was funny the first time.
I'll say, like I said at the beginning, it's by far my favorite thing of the new trilogy.
Nice.
So can't go wrong there.
Do you guys think that the voice actors for the Lego Star
Better
Wars
than the
job
actual
did-
actors
Yeah,
of
wow.
the movie.
That's what
You
it
went
was.
there.
Yeah,
By the way, have you confirmed if C-3PO was actually Anthony?
that was Anthony.
I would
Dowd.
have. He almost always does.
He's
the
got nothing
voice.
else to do.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any other voice actor that's ever done the C-3PO voice other than Anthony Daniels, because he's like very protective about C-3PO, and he also
Clearly.
Anthony Daniels loves to use it to just talk about himself.
Yeah.
This sounds like Arjuna had the opportunity to interview him. And anyway, moving on. So another really cool thing happened this past week. We are now 30 years since the premiere.
That's just stupid.
Sorry,
I said that's just stupid that was 30 years ago. The premiere
30
of
year,
Fresh
30
Prince.
years ago of the premiere of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, when a young rapper from Philadelphia came to LA and got a TV show, and we got to see a interesting, maybe not necessary reunion. That's how I'm gonna start it off.
Interesting.
Nice.
What did you guys think? I mean, I just watched this today.
I think you should start now.
I'll definitely I'll start by saying, there are definitely the moments that were presented, like James Avery's death, the Janet Hubert reconcile. There were definitely key moments that were put in there, done in such a way that were going to make you tear up and be emotional, which is, I guess, what they wanted. But beyond that, I don't know if I learned anything new. It was fun to kind of sit there and look back at everything. It definitely made me want to go and watch more Fresh Prince, but
that was probably the purpose.
I typically do that anyway without being needed to be prompted for that type of stuff. So yeah, I think I'm kind of like
In the middle.
in the middle with this, where it's It's cool. It's interesting. I'm just trying to understand the point, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like watching it. I rewatched the whole show over the summer, and it was great. Like, highly recommend rewatching it. It's interesting because you pick up on new things. One thing I kind of wish that they hit on, I mean, I understand why they didn't, but when you rewatch an older show, you pick up on things that just aren't acceptable anymore.
Oh, there's a lot.
You know, and there's definitely things in there where they go at Uncle Phil for his weight, which is, and they even actually did it in the special, and I was kind of shocked by this. Like, they're just making fun of like how heavy somebody is. You can't do that anymore. You couldn't do that in a show potentially in 2020. They use language that you can't say. There are certain words that were acceptable in the 90s that are just not accepted today.
Wait, what words?
There's one in season 1 and 2 they repeatedly used retarded as an insult.
Yeah. Gotcha.
And like it was played off as laughs, and that was very much the 90s, right? Like, you
Yeah.
could do those types of things.
Right.
Um,
Remember when we watched Rush Hour?
yeah,
Very much,
exactly.
Very, very similar.
Rush Hour is
Exactly.
Rush Hour is way worse.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Like, night and day worse.
You know, so it's just interesting. I kind of, because the Fresh Prince always tried to present that they were, a bold show, and they would go to different levels that other shows didn't. I kind of wish they did that for the reunion and kind of responded to, how do you reconcile a show that is still popular today but isn't necessarily, like, especially they talked about, kids watching this, like younger kids watching the show, and how you kind of reconcile, here's a show that was acceptable back then, but those things aren't now. Like, how do you have that conversation necessarily with your kids, and how do you as a performer, answer for that thing, for those types of things? Because we're seeing that with performers, right? Specific, there's a lot of comedians, and this has happened for a long time, but your stand-up in the 80s isn't funny in the 2000s. Your stand-up in the 90s isn't funny in the 2010s because
your stand-up from the 2010s
yeah,
aren't funny
because right
going into the 2020s.
yeah, because times change and tastes change.
So
you kind of have to reconcile that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, but that to put like the cast of a show that came out 30 years ago, not on trial, but to be like,
I don't know.
this like what
No.
like how like I want you to explain right now to the kids why that is wrong. What you just said, that's a
no.
little-
I don't want to put them on trial. I just kind of wish, because they at least want to give the illusion that they are such a close knit cast.
Yeah.
I kind of wish they just had a conversation about it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would just
Okay.
be curious to
That's
see, from their perspective as performers, like, how do you deal with that? Like, what is that like? Do you is it just like, well, it was at the time and that's what it was, or is it like, like how do you deal with that? I also, I guess they, and one thing I thought they might do, especially because it was so current and they had so many guests, and one thing that did start to kind of bubble up was the episode that featured Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And there's the actual moment where the character Ashley says to Donald Trump, "You ruined my life." I was just curious to see if they would potentially
They didn't touch it.
bring some relevant things up, like Donald Trump, and they even have like they talk about Bill Cosby at certain times. Again, just talking about some of the time stuff and like what it was like then and now. Kind of like to Ravi, it's like I wish they had turned, because that would have been new information, right? New things that potential things that people would have been interested in, and it just seemed like they went very safe with the.
It seems
reunion.
it was. I mean, it's a very well produced. It's a very well produced special where it's a great, there's really good cinematography in the actual reunion, really smart cutaways back to the old show, a lot of behind the scenes footage that was provided by ET Entertainment Tonight, which I thought was interesting. I didn't realize there was such a close relationship there. But again, it felt like it was this highly polished thing to pat oneself on the back, which is not a bad thing. I mean, we're all
It's a
human.
hype. It's a hype video.
It's a hype video, which is a fine thing. But again, to Arjuna's point, is like I look at it, and I'm like, it doesn't feel like it pushes the conversation forward. Like they touched upon it a little bit throughout the special, where they were talking about. I forget. There was a line where they're interviewing Will Smith one-on-one, and he's like, we were talking about relevant things to African Americans, and we would have to go as actors and explain to them, no, that's not how it would work in the real world. And the writers, directors, and stuff, they would make sure there was a good blend of like good funny, but also stuff that is real life, and would highlight and show this. And the sad thing is, and I think Will Smith said this, is the show was relevant back then, where Carlton and Will are being pulled over by the cops, and Will's like, hey, make sure your hands are on the steering wheel. Like, that still happens now, and that stuff is still very relevant. I kind of wish we got a little bit more of that, not to be this preachy thing, but like to show the importance of how, Hollywood loves to do this thing where it's like, we've changed, we're better. And it's like, no, you're still kind of this giant piece of shit.
Yeah.
And I wish they had done something more to kind of push it forward as opposed to like turning it into this hype reel. And I get there was a lot of stuff that they wanted to cover. James Avery's death, for example, or his passing, excuse me. And everything that happened with, well, even the stuff with like Janet Herbert.
I think we should get into
Yeah,
it.
we should definitely get into that. I don't fully understand. I knew going into it, I knew that there was beef between the two. It's revealed that, the producers, it looks like, were shorting her or cutting her pay and basically locking her into a contract that didn't allow her to get other work elsewhere, which, is never a good thing. And then ultimately it sounded like she was kind of forced out. And then her and Will, I guess, for the next 27 years just said terrible things about each other.
Yeah, there's a lot, actually. So there was like an interview, I think, that Will did either like a year or two after, or even immediately after, and just said that she was, I think, like hard to work with.
Yeah.
And then she has just repeated. She has done a lot. She said a lot. I think she released an autobiography, which she kind of blasted Will about everything and his role. And there was once a few years back where they kind of did a reunion picture, and someone asked, like, would you ever go? And she's like, I'll never do a reunion with any of those people. So it was, I mean, it's something I never thought I would see, especially because of like the tension and the animosity between Will and Janet. I liked that they did it. I thought it was done in a weird way.
Yeah, it did feel
and there's
uncomfortable.
There's more context to it, right?
Yeah.
Because like they show the sit down between Will and Janet, and then Janet comes out and they're with the cast, and then I assumed like, oh, now she's part of the reunion and they're gonna all talk round table. If you look at the way it's shot, that was shot the next day after the round table. So Alfonso Ribeiro, who plays Carlton, says that was the next day. He actually couldn't do it. He had to go do America's Funniest Home Videos. Yeah. And if you go back and rewatch when she kind of hugs everyone, Carlton isn't there.
Right.
So they really just kind of cheated the shot, and it doesn't seem like it was like she was there for any long amount of time. And that's kind of disappointing to me because it takes away like it makes the reunion feel like it was just more of this polished product than like a genuine just let's all get together and just kind of have fun. It did feel overly polished. While I feel like this, they've done a lot of reunions this year, obviously because COVID and everyone's stuck inside and blah blah blah. But the best ones to me are the ones that just feel authentic. And this one,
like a real round table.
Yeah, and this one didn't necessarily feel real. It just felt kind of
produced.
It felt very produced.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to get a real raw reunion in COVID times, they should have done it over the Zoom call. Do it live. Like if you really want to show us and have a discussion, do it live. Do it over a Zoom call. Let's get real with it, and then produce from there. Whatever. But doing it this way, like you said, it feels produced. It feels like it's a hype video. And these aren't bad things. It's just, it's not what I wanted out of it.
And I feel like they didn't really get into the, they talked about it on a surface level of like, this is what happened. This is what was happening for Janet with her pregnancy and a tough, personal life. And then she was kind of forced out by the producers and stuff. But, and they kind of put it on Will and Janet, but like the producers and stuff have a really big and like are really implicit in this.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, so is the actress that took over for Aunt Viv too, because if you watch the episodes, and it's kind of shocking when you rewatch it and you think about it as a kid, the new Aunt Viv is absent for a lot of episodes in seasons 4, 5, and 6. She's not in it for a lot. And the character is really sidelined. While in the first few seasons, she's a college professor. She is, she's very intelligent. She does a lot. She's very involved in the story. And the the show pushed her out. Very much so. And they continued that when they recast her. It wasn't like they recast her and the new Aunt Viv was all of a sudden
Same, yeah.
involved again. It was
Yep.
just like, here, like, you can take on this role, but it's still reduced. So
Yeah, it's like two completely different characters. I mean,
Yeah.
Granted, that's going to happen when you recast a character,
For sure.
but to this extreme was like, I don't know. It doesn't sit well, that's for sure.
No.
One of the other big things I think that a lot of people going into this, I was one of them, was, what's the future? Is there a future for the Fresh Prince, or are we just going to be getting reunions, for the future? What did you guys think? I guess the big question I have for everyone here is, do we want to see a reboot? Do we want to see a continuation?
There is one coming. Right?
Well, there's the reboot.
There's the NBC Bel-Air reboot.
Right.
And it does make sense why they didn't really talk about it, because it is on Peacock.
Yep.
And this was an HBO Max thing, so they're probably like, we're not promoting anything about that.
And it's going to be a very different show.
Yeah,
sounds like.
exactly.
It's going to be a dramatic version.
A dramatic
version
retelling
for the 2020s, right? So
Yep.
it's going to be it should in theory look very different than the show 30 years.
Yeah, I still kind of wish they touched on it. Even just getting their reaction to they're remaking your show. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
What are your thoughts on it? Like, do you think this is a show that should be remade and like it's being done in a very different way? What are your thoughts on that? I kind of and like going back again to the polish thing, like that's just HBO and the producers and the whole team that was around it, just making sure it was very polished and like this cookie cutter package, and versus like actual questions you might ask the cast. Because it is big news, right? Like this show is getting remade in a very different way, and I for one want to hear like what the cast thinks and if they would want to be involved in any way. Do they want to play the same characters? Do they want a cameo as different? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's important information, and it's like a big missed opportunity.
Did they touch upon why season 6 was the last season?
No, they don't mention it at all. But
do we know why it was canned after 6 seasons?
So I mean, the rumor is that it was Will, right? Like he had started to do.
He started becoming a movie
Yeah,
actor.
he started becoming a movie star, and a
makes
TV
sense.
show is going to hold him down. The show actually, and I'm surprised they didn't touch on this in the reunion, but the show was canceled after the 4th season. So I don't know if you guys remember the 4th season finale. It's when they go to Philly and they all hang out, and then they come back, and Will's like, "I'm going to stay for a little longer." Then he calls, and like Uncle Phil's like, "Oh, you're at the airport?" He's like, "No, I'm not coming back, Uncle Phil. I'm staying in Philly." And then it ends on a cliffhanger. That was supposed to be the series finale. The show had actually been canceled by NBC. Because NBC had seen that the show ratings had started to go down, and the show was popular. They had started to do like double Fresh Prince, where they showed an old one and a new one, and the ratings were very identical. So we're just like, we should just end the show now and just start syndication on it now, because we're over 100 episodes. The ratings are identical. We don't need to spend more money to make more episodes.
That makes sense.
But here's what happened. This is back when you had more local television stations. People went to their local NBC affiliates, and the local NBC affiliates were like, "No, we need more Fresh Prince. This is very important for our programming," and to the point where they've basically made NBC redecide, like, okay, we'll do 2 more seasons.
Wow.
Very different times.
Yeah, very interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
that does not happen now. Nobody's calling up. Nobody's calling up HBO. We need more Game of Thrones. Well, they're doing it anyway, but like
No, they wanted.
Or you got to wait for George R. Martin to finish.
They want the season 8 of Game of Thrones redone. That's the big write-in right now on Twitter.
Season 6? Season 6 was the last one, right?
No, season
Season
8.
8.
Season 8 was the
Were
last
there
one.
actually 8 seasons?
There were
Yes.
8 terrible seasons of nothing.
It was not 8 terrible seasons. It was
When the payoff is
6
nothing, it is
good
8 seasons of nothing.
It's very much like How I Met Your Mother. Like, a lot of How I Met Your Mother is good, but
great,
because of
yeah.
the last season,
It's
I
nothing.
never want to watch that show.
you want to puke in your mouth.
I like
Exactly.
watching How I Met Your Mother on the airplane to like fall asleep.
the aeroplane.
The aeroplane.
What are you,
There you
British?
go.
I think we're gonna run around for this one too. Krishna,
Oh.
the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion, was it good?
Yeah, I liked it. I knew going in that we're going to be very limited because it was only 40, kind of like a Lego Star Wars special, only like 45
It was
minutes
an
or
hour
whatever.
15.
It was?
Yeah, it's an hour and 15.
It was an hour 15, and
Wow, it
Alfonso,
went by quick.
Alfonso Ribeiro said they taped at least double that, so he said they cut out a lot.
Wow. See, there you go.
I can't
They
wait
cut
for the
out, they cut
director's
out all
cut.
the stuff you guys want.
Wait, I can't wait for the
Zack Schneider cut?
Zack Schneider cut.
Oh
yes.
my god. But no, I liked it. It definitely does. It definitely did feel like a hype video But I like because I haven't seen Fresh Prince in a long time, so I liked being able to revisit, some of the iconic scenes. I liked getting some of that behind like the cast, like what they were going through, their unique struggles with like the auditions
Yeah.
and stuff like that. How much they've changed since they've been young. Some of the classic episodes, like when Trevor dies.
Hillary, will
They touched on like every iconic episode that I remember. Like
Yeah.
the ones that I remember are the ones that they touched on, and I really like that. That shows me that the cast were also fans of the show, kind of like I was, and that the stuff that I liked from the show, they also liked. I'm like,
I
"That's good."
might be more of a cynic, but I think that was all fed.
Wow. Well, they
You are definitely a cynic.
they
I think I am
acted
a
they
cynic.
acted well.
They're good actors.
I
What can
had
say?
I had a good time. It was emotional.
Did you cry?
No, I didn't cry.
Be honest.
I'm a bald
Did you
man.
not like with the
I'm a grown ass man.
with the James Avery stuff? You didn't bubble up a little
Okay,
bit.
here's the thing. If there were tears, they were manly tears. Okay,
Still
those are the
tearing
most
up.
manly tears I've ever
Still
seen.
tearing
in my
up.
Christian
life.
cried.
You know what?
Let's
No one
confirm.
was there to confirm. So, anyways, yes, it was good. Arjuna, was the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air reunion on HBO Max good?
When we started the conversation, I was gonna say yes, but I honestly think after talking about it, I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna change my answer to no, just because I think it was a missed opportunity on a lot of different key parts. I love seeing the cast together. I love the show, but the information that I want is out there on the internet. It's easy to research this type of stuff, or like those behind the scenes stories. They've done some of these interviews
true.
before. This didn't move the needle for me. And I just kind of wish it wasn't as curated, especially discussing it. Like, it was very polished, and it doesn't. It should. It's almost like it was a fictional roundtable. It was almost like they were playing their characters again. So, Ravi, was the reunion good?
I'm gonna say no. Unfortunately, again, just like I said, it felt too polished, too kind of in your face, overproduced. It felt like we're gonna do this so that Will Smith's new millions of followers can get a taste of what the Fresh Prince is, with the hope that they're gonna go back and look at Fresh Prince on the HBO Max product. So it feels like it was a gigantic product push.
Yeah.
So good job, HBO Max.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the reunion, I didn't like it.
Well.
Anywho, moving into the Was It Newsy News section here. Real quick, throwing to our chat here. Christian, you're a crybaby, according to the chat, so
Yeah.
haha.
Well.
But in terms of Was It News, as we all know, earlier this year, yes, 2020, the shit year, Chadwick Boseman unfortunately had passed. And the character that he had presented live on screen, the Black Panther, there are still a lot of questions in terms of where does that go, what's going to happen. And it was reported earlier this week or last week that Hollywood Reporter reported that the Black Panther 2 is going to start shooting this coming July in 2021. What's the thinking here? What do all we know is that shooting is going to start, and
We don't
beyond
know
that,
anything else.
pretty much nothing.
There was a casting. They did cast a villain for Black Panther. It's a Mexican actor. His name is, this is me,
Stalling.
Tino Huerta. Mexican. I don't know if I'm saying his name right.
I'm not the right person to ask.
Christian.
I don't know if I've never.
He
I don't know if I've heard.
I mean, he's most known for his being one of the
Narcos.
stars of Narcos Mexico.
Oh.
He is supposed to play one of the antagonists. We know that most of the principal cast is returning from Black Panther 1. And the report also says that the actress who played Shuri, Letitia Wright, will have a larger role in the movie.
Possibly Black Panther? We don't know, obviously.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I actually had a discussion today with a friend of the podcast, TD, and we were discussing about this Black Panther news. Shooting in July is pretty quick. It's a pretty quick turnaround from Chadwick's unfortunate passing.
Well, time of shooting would be roughly a year.
Still, right.
Yeah.
But that's still pretty short if you think about production, right? If production was all in on Black Panther 2, let's say they had the script ready,
Well, remember, shooting for Black Panther 2 was supposed to start in March of 2021, and then it was pushed to to July, so a couple months down.
So it's pushed only 4 months,
Mhm.
right? Now, if you think that your main character, right, has passed away, or the
Mhm.
actor who played the main character has passed away, I would think to rework a story, it would take a lot more than 4 months
right.
to rework that type of story. It leads me to theorize that there could be some type of recasting going on here.
Mhm.
Just because I think in terms of time and how quickly it's moving, it doesn't seem like there. It seems like you'd have to rewrite the entire movie, obviously, extensively, if you were going the direction of there is no more Black Panther, there is no more King T'Challa. So that's kind of that's a potential working theory right now. Are they going to recast, and who kind of has to take on that mantle? I think we talked about it on this podcast in terms of when he passed away and kind of, I still think that's the wrong move to potentially recast. I think they should retire the character, not necessarily the mantle, but certainly the character, and then honor him. But I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think.
I agree. I'm not a huge fan of recasting things in like sequels and whatnot. It just jars me a little bit. Like some examples, OG Aunt Viv and Aunt Vivian from the new Aunt Vivian from Fresh Prince. It's just a weird. You have to get used to it.
Yeah.
It's a different style. Same thing in the Dark Knight trilogy when you went from Katie Holmes
Yep.
to Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yep.
That was weird. It was weird. It's like it felt like two different people. You
Right.
know.
Though the
So-
MCU has done this, the Incredible Hulk
Yeah.
was Edward Norton, and
Yeah.
it became Mark Ruffalo.
But let's be honest.
Uh,
You can forgive it when the material is bad because
That's
you
true.
don't care.
well, then there's
Black
also
Panther is good.
there's also Terrence Howard was the original.
Yeah.
But these cases are all
Brody.
these are all different cases
Absolutely.
compared to the Chadwick Boseman one.
Yeah, he's the king. He's
the king. He's the king. I don't know. I think it's okay to recast and continue that character because that character is iconic. That character has become a big thing, a big piece of pop culture,
Yep.
and has become, something kids look up to. I think it would be kind of worse to a degree if in the MCU the character actually does pass, obviously similar to real life, and then the mantle of Black Panther is given to someone completely different, as opposed to recast, continue the character, and maybe the character something else happen. I don't know what happens.
So you want to
but
see it recasted?
I think a recast makes sense. When things happen with Carrie Fisher,
Okay.
there was a lot of question about
Right.
recasting Princess Leia. There was a lot of do we do CG and all this fun stuff. That situation feels different because the character of Princess Leia was an older character. It kind of makes sense in that story. The Black Panther is a young character. He's not old. He's a young character. He becomes king. He does a lot.
He's also the main character of his own franchise
Yeah.
and one of the principal characters in the MCU. Like he's supposed to be one of the leaders of the new Avengers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's a very tough spot. Like it really,
Yeah.
there's no logical answer to it. And I think there is, I think there is, especially talking to TD, I think there is more, there is something to say about potentially honoring the legacy of the character because the character is so important.
Yeah.
It's not, no offense to the Hulk, right? Like, but taking the Incredible Hulk, like he's a cool character, but Black Panther just has a different significance to people and and culture. It really does, and it's tricky. It's a business, as well. At the end of the day, it's also an entertainment for people. So it is
A lot of factors that go into it.
I there's no right answer. You're not gonna bat 1,000 and make everybody happy here. There's definitely
No,
going
no
to
way.
be, no matter what you do, some amount of people who are unhappy. I think whatever they do decide to do, you got to go all in and
I think
go with it.
I think the only way that's going to smooth it over is you just better make sure that the script is dynamite. If there's a
Yes.
good
Yeah.
whatever you do, it better be a good tight reason, and the story better be amazing. Like, it sucks, but I feel like there's a little bit of added pressure to Black Panther 2. Like, no matter what their decision is, I think there's gonna be a lot of eyes on it, and we're gonna want to see some kind, as good of a transition as you can get.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that starts with the script. It starts with a tight story. I remember when we did Rise of Skywalker, and Jules was on the podcast,
Yeah.
and we said, if you start Rise of Skywalker at Princess Leia's funeral, right, instead of trying to CGI her in, and she just feels like this,
It would have been
this
way
thing,
better.
It just felt so weird. So
Yeah.
as long as they spend their time on the script and they make it as solid as possible, I think we'll see. We'll see.
I also think I think it's like the producers, the studio folks, they can learn also from their not past mistakes, but their this unfortunately has happened before. Like, we have seen terrible things like this happen. I think learn from what you've tried and what you've done.
Yeah.
And try and move this forward in a positive light. So I think, like Christian said, I think it really depends. It comes down to what that story looks like and how it's presented.
Right.
If they go I don't think it's appropriate. I don't think we're at the point in life where digitally recreating someone is, I don't want to say acceptable. It's just, it's not the same as if you create a story in such a way where, like in Rise of Skywalker, you start the funeral. That to me is a more rich, better story that makes more sense, that makes me feel better than seeing this digital shell of a person, essentially.
Right.
Granted, everything that we see on a screen is just a shell of a person.
Yeah, right.
But that's a conversation for another
not the
time.
thing itself.
Not the thing itself, yeah.
Right, and
Yeah.
we have had some examples of Fast and Furious.
Yep.
With the passing of Paul Walker, he had filmed some scenes. They brought in his brothers. They digitally recreated his face onto them. Obviously, we have Star Wars, so it's going to be an interesting, not just for this movie, but also going forward. Of do we start, especially as things happen and actors are identified with certain roles, kind of what happens with those types of decisions going forward. It's a little scary, honestly. Isn't there like a movie that's using the likeness of like an actor from way back, their likeness for a movie, and like digitally recreating them and having them star in a movie? Like, that news came out earlier this year, and it was kind of strange.
Well, I mean, Rogue One did it with
Yeah,
Grand Moff Tarkin.
Right.
So
Yeah.
anyway, moving into something maybe positive, more happy, more lighthearted. I don't know. We're not a studio. We're not losing a lot of money on this, so to me, that's cool. Wonder Woman 1984 is going to come out simultaneously on HBO Max the same day it comes out in theaters. And from what I understand, there is no upcharge.
Wait, really?
Meaning, yeah, if I'm reading this correctly, if you have HBO Max, you get access to this movie, unlike another company named Disney that made us pay. Well, they didn't make us; we got it a different way, but made us.
Whoa! We got it free. We got it early, and for free because we are a professional reviewing podcast, and they send us screeners.
Yes. We'll go
That
with
checks out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So from what this article,
Foolproof.
the Cinema Blend article is saying that yes, Wonder Woman will come out same day, Christmas Day, in select theaters. And will also be available on the HBO streaming service HBO Max. There has not been a plan determined for overseas just yet. The article goes on to say it's an unprecedented decision for a studio, which is huge because this movie was supposed to come out when? March?
Earlier this year, for sure.
Earlier this year has been moved around, I think, a dozen times, it feels like. And now the studio is potentially kicking it out same day, giving it to everyone that utilizes that service. This could be a huge win for HBO Max as a digital platform. Could be a massive loss for the actual studio behind it.
Oh, it will be.
Well, here's the thing, right? Like with movie theaters, there's had to be a huge readjustment in terms of what is even a success at the box office, because even if you're releasing in the box office, you're not recouping, you're not making a profit necessarily just off the box office numbers right now, because even though a lot of theaters have reopened, a lot of people aren't, understandably, and rightfully so in my opinion, going to the movie theater at the same rate that they used to, because there is a deadly pandemic out there.
Fake news.
I think I think it is interesting. One thing that is this is similar to is back at the beginning of the pandemic when Trolls World Tour was the first movie that did, instead of staying with their theatrical release, just decided to go to VOD, and many of the theaters were very mad at Universal and said, "What are you doing? You're killing the theater
Did they also
experience."
threaten them and say like we're not
Yes.
going to be distributing,
Yep,
and now
they're-
like, the joke's on?
They're right,
the
and
theaters.
they obviously walked that back, and they mended fences, but there was a lot of tension there. AMC actually released a statement being like, "We have been in talks with Warner Brothers for months, and we think this is an appropriate way to do it, so that people have the choice." Especially on Christmas Day, because Christmas Day is a popular day for movie theaters. It is a popular Christmas activity for families, especially.
Have you ever
to go
gone to the movie theater on Christmas?
God, no.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
What?
We went to go see Force Awakens, I think, for the
Yeah.
second time on that.
Wait,
And
us?
it was me and him when he first
Yeah.
came out to
Oh,
LA.
Our first Christmas
And it was,
year.
I'm going to tell you this, it was
Busy as hell.
busy as hell, and it was the worst fucking experience, like worst experience to go see a movie. Everyone is aggravated. The lines are longer. The staff is irritable because they have to work on a fucking holiday.
Yeah.
The popcorn is stale.
It's just a terrible experience. Don't go to the movies on Christmas.
I think we should
Right.
I think, when the world is regular again, we should do that tradition we did one year, which is to go on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, 'cause
to
it's
see a
empty.
movie.
The theater is
Oh,
traditionally
yeah.
empty.
So if you guys remember, the year was 2004,
Huh.
and Mom and Dad gave us money to go see a movie, and we were like, "Oh, this is cool. Like we should, the three of us should go see a movie every Christmas Eve." We never did after that.
Yeah,
That
some
was-
tradition.
That was the one year. Well, here's probably the reason why. We went to go see the Peter Jackson King Kong movie,
Oh,
which then
God,
which
yeah.
was
So
long
bad.
and bad, and then also took 2 hours to play because the theater broke down.
Oh.
So we had to wait, but we did get free tickets to go see another movie. Can't remember what the
Can you
next
imagine
new
though?
movie
You're
was.
waiting we stuck around for 2 hours to watch a 3-hour
We were-
terrible movie.
We were there for like 5 hours.
That's
Yeah.
terrible.
I mean, it's great for parents to kick your kids out of the house so you can set up and stuff, but my God, that was horseshit, that movie. Ugh.
Yeah.
Good old Peter Jackson.
But I mean, we're definitely. I mean, I like this news. I'm glad that Warner Brothers is not listening to assholes like Christopher Nolan.
What?
And
Guys.
oh shit, did I say that out loud? Whoops. I'm
What,
glad.
Judah? What'd you get over there?
I'm just glad that they're giving us the ability. If there are folks that want to go and risk breathing with a bunch of other people in the theater, you have that right. But the fact that we're able to see this movie at home, I think is going to be great.
It's great. And if it's good, guess what? We'll go see it in theaters when
The
COVID's
world's
over.
normal again. Yeah,
I'll go
we'll
see it in IMAX.
Yeah, exactly.
If it's good.
So I think that's really good news. I'm very curious to see how. I'm very curious for us to see how they're going to report numbers in terms of box office to like viewers to like new subscriber. Like, I'm very curious to see what the new subscriber to HBO Max looks like.
Yeah.
If I was HBO Max, obviously you've done a great job with the hype. Well, fell over with the hype. Fresh Prince reunion. That's good. You're trying to get people on the platform. That's fine. What I would do next is if this is true news and it's definitely coming out and there's no back and forth, is leading up to the weeks of HBO Max's release, offer like a bundle where you can buy a loved one 2 or 3 months of the service for Christmas, like shit like that.
I mean, it's gonna be very watched on Christmas Day. Everyone's gonna be inside. A lot of people obviously aren't going to the movie theater, so they should have record-breaking numbers. My concern is obviously I assume we're going to watch it on Christmas Day at some point, probably in the evening. Is can the application support all of the people that are going to be on it, or is it going to be a lot of disappointed people who are trying to watch the movie and it crashes?
They should be prepared because I feel like the Game of Thrones final finale was probably one of the most watched things ever. They should be
HBO
fine.
has a history of like large launches of digital platforms and products, so I would
Yeah.
imagine that they're somewhat good to go.
Yeah.
But
You never know.
It'll
see.
be
We'll see.
it's definitely a test.
Maybe-
It's definitely a test.
Maybe COVID has rusted
and,
their system.
Well, and here's the other thing too, right? Because they're going to need extra bandwidth. There will be a lot of people working on Christmas Day on that HBO side. So we can sit and watch Wonder Woman and criticize it.
That's what we're
Pedro
here for.
Pascal's in the movie. I'm not criticizing it.
Do you think they're going to do like a Mandalorian reference or anything? And obviously
They can't,
Probably
right?
not.
Obviously
Absolutely they can't. 'Cause it's WB.
No, yeah, it's two different properties.
Disney.
Yeah.
Actually,
They hate each other.
Didn't he film it before he filmed Mando season 1, or maybe right around the same time?
think it was around the same time.
That's crazy.
Filmed
Think
so
about
long
it.
ago. Last piece of holiday news before we wrap here. The Doctor Who holiday special has got a fan favorite.
Yes.
Mr. Captain Jack.
Jack Harkness.
Who
This
made,
means nothing to me.
who made an appearance in the newest season of
Series,
Doctor
yeah.
Who. The appearance was, I think, total screen time was in one episode. And I think total screen time was like 3 minutes. But he was still there. So it's going to be quite interesting, I think. Yeah, who's excited? Is anyone excited at this table besides me?
I am. I mean, I
That's
definitely
good.
I like Doctor Who. I still
don't.
need to catch up on the latest season of Doctor Who.
Thumbs down.
I think there was a lot of big news that came out when the new season of Doctor Who came out. Spoilers for those who haven't watched it. There were 3 big things. There was a new master. There was there were more regenerations of the Doctor, including a previous version of a female, a black female.
Wait,
Doctor.
you don't know,
I know about this pre-version of the Doctor.
right?
and,
But
like,
do you
it
know the
being-
biggest thing?
I don't know the biggest.
Do you want me to ruin it for
No,
you?
no,
Oh,
not
okay.
yet. And then
Okay.
but these are the big talking points, right?
Right.
The new version of the Doctor, who is, canonically, we don't know where they exactly fit until you get to the end of the show, I'm sure.
Yep.
The new Master, and then Jack Harkness showing up for
3 minutes.
basically an extended cameo, if you
Yeah.
want to call it that.
Yeah.
So
So it's another the holiday, like Christmas Day. You're gonna start the day off with some Doctor Who.
God damn it.
You're gonna end it with some Wonder Woman,
Okay.
and then we're probably gonna do that horror game in VR. That sounds like a great fucking Christmas to me.
Oh my god, that sounds.
and we get
2 out of those 3.
we get Tenet a week before, I believe, on digital.
We don't
VOD
talk about
release.
that here. We don't. talk
I'm
about
sure we're going to talk about it on the podcast.
I'm gonna say very little.
No, you're not.
Yep.
What
In
if
fact, I might hire a replacement just for that podcast.
Can we CGI you?
So
Yes.
are we gonna?
You
are
have
we-
my blessing.
Are we Jim from The Office?
Yes, exactly.
You get
we're gonna have
Randall-
we're gonna
Ray
have
Park?
we're
No,
gonna have
not Ray Park,
we're gonna have
Randall
Asian.
Park.
Ready?
Randall Park.
We're
there
gonna
we
have Asian Ravi.
go. Asian.
Think about that for a bit.
Wait, but you are Asian.
There you go. There you go. So that's going to do it for us, guys. Thank you so much for listening. We are going to be back this Friday for The Mandalorian Season 2, Episode 5. As always, between now and then, you can follow us along on Twitter at WasItGood, on Instagram at WasItGoodBTM, and as always, these podcasts are done live on twitch.tv/WasItGood. We also stream, for the most part, every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, so definitely follow along, check it out.
And we're bringing back Food Dude at some point.
Yeah,
Because Christian has decided he's given up on trying to be
Everything.
healthy.
Yeah, it's over. It's over. It's impossible during the holiday season. You just can't do it.
You should do like
So I give
festive.
up.
You should do like festive food dudes where you eat like pies and like turkey legs and those types of things.
Well,
it'll be fun.
if we do one Saturday, it'll be literally Thanksgiving leftovers.
Ugh.
Cold cut turkey sandwich. Oh, we don't have any turkey.
No.
Cold cut lamb sandwiches.
Goodbye. You want to stop down and recording?
Yeah, we're still
Cool.
streaming.
And for those still on the live stream, we do have the Funko Pops to give away real quick. So while we were doing this, our
Crackpot.
crackpot secondary producer pulled. Everyone's a crackpot. I don't even.
Yeah.
What is a crackpot?
crack? You're trying to use it the way like
I'm gonna Google
like
it.
a crack pot.
I'm
I don't know if
gonna
crack
Google it.
pot's the right. It's
What-
crack something like a crack shot. Maybe
What
crack
is
shot.
a crackpot? A crackpot. Oh, an eccentric. Wait, an eccentric or foolish person.
Then it's perfect.
Yeah, it's great.
It works.
Crackpot.
It
Yeah.
works for Kelly. Kelly on Twitch here says it's what you cook crack in, right? Yeah. In which case, yes,
Kelly,
you're
you
right.
tell us.
I think Kelly knows.
Kelly would know. Kelly would know. Yeah.
Cook your crack, right?
We're just
Cook-
calling. We're just
Kelly
calling
cooks
out
her
our. We're just calling out our fans here.
Anyway, so the winner for. Do you guys remember which one was on which platform?
Yeah, I think Grief was Twitter and Kara was Instagram.
Yeah.
So the winner for the Creef Karga Funko Pop 347 is on from Twitter at Speegs44.
He already won.
Did he?
Yeah. He's a lucky man. He's getting his second one.
You're getting your second one, so congratulations.
Congratulations, Noah.
We will reach out to you via Twitter DMs and figure that all out. And then for the Cara Dune
Which is
Funko Pop 327, which was on Instagram, this is Alberto Gabriel 15. Once again, we'll reach out to you. Whoa, I'm dying over here.
congratulations.
We'll reach out to you on Twitter or Instagram and figure out where to send this guy. So thank you. We will have a new contest next week.
Next Monday.
Next Monday. So in a week from today, we're tired of giving. No, just kidding. We're just not organized. We'll announce it again on our Twitter and on our Instagram. And yeah, it should be fun.
And then we'll announce those winners on our Mandalorian Friday podcast. Not this Friday, next Friday.
Yeah. Actually, what are we doing this Friday? Because you won't be here.
We're doing the show.
Oh, we're having him remote in.
Yeah,
He's our guest.
Yeah, he's our guest.
Wow.
I'm the guest.
We're going to treat you like a guest.
Actually, technically, if you guys want, each of us could have our own camera.
Ooh.
I
yeah,
actually
actually,
might,
that's exactly how it's
I
gonna
might
be.
redo it to make it easier. And like, you know how I do dunk bait with the 3 boxes?
Yeah.
We could do something similar like that.
That might make sense for next
And then it's just one thing, and we don't have to worry about intercutting everything. But you tell me.
That might make more sense for this week, as you guys aren't very good producers, and you can't talk and produce at the same time.
I know I can't.
Neither can you, clearly, but...
I cut these cameras very well.
Really? Your
Yeah.
computer's out of storage space.
It's not my computer.
It's not my computer
Joke's
either.
on you.
Wait. Well, it's not mine. Or is it?
Anyway, thank you guys for watching. We will catch you all later.
Bye. Thank you for tuning in.